Amy, can you hear us?
Yes, sir, I can hear you.
Okay, we'll get started here in just a minute. I think we're waiting for the Attorney General on the phone. I don't see him on there yet. Is that what he told me?
Yeah, that's what Craig did. To check with them.
Amy. Oh. Hey, Amy, is it possible to tell if the Attorney General's on the line or not?
Somebody
just popped on.
There he
Aaron
is.
Ford is on. I'm sorry.
Okay. We see you now. You ready to go, General?
Yes, sir. Go ahead.
Cisco, are you ready?
Yes, sir.
All right, we'll go ahead and kick it off. State of Nevada Board of Examiners meeting scheduled for today, April 9th, 2024 at 10 a.m. Could I please have the clerk call the roll?
Governor Lombardo,
Present.
Secretary of State Aguilar,
Here.
Attorney General Ford.
Here.
Let the record reflect we have a quorum, sir.
All right, thank you. We will move on to agenda item number 2, the first opportunity for public comment. Is limited to comments on items on the agenda. No action may be taken upon a matter raised under the public comment period unless the matter itself has been specifically included on the agenda as an action item. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Public comment may be provided in person or via telephone. That telephone number being 775-321-6111. And the prompt or ID number shall be 995-493-37#. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City?
No, sir.
Do we have any here in Las Vegas? Please, please, please. No? Nobody? Anybody online there, Amy? Or via the telephone?
None on the phone, sir, or online.
All right. We will close the first opportunity for public comment and move to agenda item number 3, approval of the March 12, 2024 meeting minutes for possible action. Do any board members have any questions on the meeting minutes?
None here. Move approval.
Second.
We have a first and a second. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye. That sounded like the majority, so motion passes. And we'll move on to agenda item number 4, state vehicle purchases for possible action. Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. There are 2 requests under agenda item number 4 this morning. The first request is from the Commission on Mineral Resources, Division of Minerals. The division requests approval to purchase 1 replacement vehicle for a total amount not to exceed $52,442. The second request is from the Department of Public Safety, State Fire Marshal Division. The division requests approval to purchase 1 replacement vehicle for a total amount not to exceed $27,386. Are there any questions on any of these items?
Do we have any questions?
No questions. Motion to approve.
We have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. All right.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And we will close item number 4, move to agenda item number 5, authorization for an emergency contract with a current and/or former state employee for possible action. Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. Pursuant to NRS 333.705, subsection 4, the Governor's Office of Energy seeks a favorable recommendation regarding its determination to use the emergency provision to contract with a former employee to assist in grant and fiscal work in the Governor's Office of Energy on a part-time basis through Manpower. Are there any questions on this item?
Yes, I have a question. Is it my understanding that this individual didn't have the 90-day cooling off period as required per NRS?
That is correct, sir.
Okay, so is it also correct that the individual was already done their time in this position?
I'm sorry, sir, I didn't hear your question.
Did the person already, have they hired and as a result, let go of this individual now, presently?
Yes, sir. That is
Okay.
correct.
All right. If I don't have any other questions, I'll make a motion for non-favorable recommendation for the Governor's Office of Energy request as outlined in agenda item number 5 pursuant to NRS 286.520. Is that sufficient?
Are you making the motion or you want us to give you a motion, Governor?
No, I'm making the motion.
Okay.
Second?
We have a second. We don't need a second, right? All right. Well, we have a motion on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
All right. Motion passes as a non-favorable recommendation. All right, so we will close agenda item number 5 and move to agenda item number 6, authorization to contract with a current and/or former state employee for possible action. Let's take those separately, Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. Would you like to hear these together or separate?
Separate.
Okay, the first request is from the Department of Business and Industry, Office of the Labor Commissioner, through the Department of Administration Purchasing Division. The office intends to contract with a former employee from April 10th, 2024 through September 29th, 2024 on a part-time basis through Manpower. Are there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
No questions?
I'll
Motion
entertain-
Here.
All right, we have a motion from Secretary of State.
Yes.
All those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Aye.
Motion passes. Agenda item 6B, Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. The second request is from the Department of Public Safety through the Department of Administration Purchasing Division. The department intends to contract with a former employee from April 15th, 2024 through October 15th, 2024 on a part-time basis through Marathon Staffing Group. Are there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
No questions? Motion to approve?
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. We will close agenda item 6B. We move to agenda item number 7, request for approval to pay a tort claim from, the tort claim fund pursuant to NRS 41.036 for possible action. Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. Pursuant to NRS 41.036, the Office of the Attorney General submits the following tort claim requests for approval. Claimant Reginald Howard, claim number T as in Tom, C as in Charles, 21008. Settlement amount is for $150,000. Date of loss is September 25th, 2015. Are there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
I do, and it's a totally random question, but why is NDOC required to pay $500?
Thank you. I think we have a DAG in the office there, right? Marnie Watkins, are you there?
I'm present. I'm not 100% familiar with this, but from my
Can
understanding,
you come up?
Marnie Watkins from Complex Litigation. I did not work on this case, and I'm not part of NDOC, but I am aware of the $500 that they have to pay, and there's the settlement. First $500, it's NDOT's contract with the state, that for any settlement, the first $500 has to come out of their budget.
They're signifying behind you. That's correct.
All right, thank you. Motion to approve?
Did that answer your question?
Yes, I was just more curious than anything. Thank you.
Oh, okay. So we have a motion for approval on the table. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And we will close item number 7. Move to item number 8, request for approval to pay a tort claim from the statutory contingency account pursuant to NRS 41.036 for possible action. And let's take those separately, please. Ms. Stevenson?
Yes, sir. So pursuant to NRS 41.036, the Office of Attorney General submits the following tort claim request for approval. Claimant is Bonnie Lopez, Colleen Lackey, estate of Melody Morgan. Claim number is T as in Tom, C as in Charles, 20983. Settlement amount for $1,350,000. Data loss April 28, 2018. Is there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
No questions. Motion to approve?
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. Item 8B, please.
Yes, sir. Under item 8B, there's actually 2 claimants in this one item. First claimant is Rupert Gamo, Gamo. Sorry if I butchered that. Claim number T as in Tom, C as in Charles, 20265. Settlement amount for $100,000. Date of loss is October 1st, 2022. The second claimant is Adrian Albert. Claim number T as in Tom, C as in Charles, 20266. Settlement amount is $115,000. Date of loss is October 1st, 2022. Is there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
No questions. Motion to approve?
We have a motion on the floor for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. We'll close agenda item number 8. Move to agenda item number 9, request for recommendation of approval to the interim finance committee for a grant or loan from the disaster relief account for possible action. And stand by. It's one item, so go ahead, Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. Pursuant to NRS 353.274, Section 2, the Division of Emergency Management requests an approval of grant funds from the disaster relief account to cover emergency response and management costs associated with Hurricane Hilary. Please note that the dollar amount has changed from what's on the agenda. It is now $115,892. Are there any questions on this item?
Is that sufficient?
Yeah, because it's lower.
Okay. Any questions on this item?
No questions. Motion to approve?
All right, we have a motion on the floor for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. So that's the threshold, as long as it's
Right,
lower.
if you're paying an amount, it's okay to approve an amount less,
Okay.
but not more.
All right, we will close agenda item number 9. Move to agenda item number 10. Request for the allocation disbursement of funds for salary adjustments for possible action. Stand by. Since it's 2 different entities, we'll take them separately. Ms. Stevenson.
Yes, sir. The 2023 legislature, through Assembly Bill 522, made appropriations from the general fund and the highway fund to the Board of Examiners to meet salary deficiencies that may be created between the appropriated money of the state's respective departments, commissions, and agencies, and the salary requirements for the personnel of those departments, commissions, and agencies. The following request for allocation from the general fund and/or highway fund salary adjustment account is recommended. The first request is from the Nevada System of Higher Education in the amount of $185,181 in general funds for salary increases for its sworn positions. Is there any questions on this item?
No, no question, but a comment, Ms. Stevenson. So we have not seen UNLV's request for the 2 grade upgrade. Is that pending? Or are we going up against any deadline that would have an adjustment of that?
I will reach out and follow up, sir. I don't have an answer right now, but I'll get back to you.
Okay. Do we have any questions on agenda item number 10A?
No questions,
None
motion
here.
to
Move
approve?
approval.
No need.
All right, we have a motion for approval on the floor. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 10B, please.
Yes, sir. The second request is from the Nevada System of Higher Education in the amount of $3,775,236 in general funds for salary increases. Is there any question on this item?
No questions.
None
motion-
here. Move approval.
Secretary of State made the motion for the record. We have a motion on the floor for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. All right, we'll close agenda item number 10. Move to agenda item number 11, request for a recommendation of approval to the interim finance committee for an allocation amount from the contingency account for possible action. And looks like we're going to need to take them separately. Ms. Stevenson,
Yes, sir.
if you would go ahead, please.
Yes, sir. Sorry. There are 5 requests under this agenda item. So the first request is from State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Division of Forestry. Pursuant to NRS 353.268, the division requests a recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee for an allocation of $114,156 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account for maintenance, utilities, and communications expenditures. Is there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
None here. Move approval. This is Abram Ford.
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. 11B, please.
Thank you, sir. The second request is from the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Division of Forestry. Pursuant to NRS 353.268, the division requests a recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee for an allocation of $6,404,612 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account to fund an increase in fire suppression costs. Are there any questions on this item?
Question, Ms. Stevenson, Governor Lombardo, for the record. Is this a total amount expected even for future meetings? Are you aware? Because it's.
There is a representative coming to the table, sir.
Good morning, Governor, members of the committee. No, we anticipate we'll be back here in June as well. We're looking at probably closer to 9 or 10 million, depending on how the fire season shapes up to the end of the year. So this was our best projection at the time with the bills we had on hand and the projections that we use, a 5-year average of what would get us to the end of the year. Since then, it has grown, even in $1 million in bills on hand today.
Okay. So it's sufficient for you to continue business as usual with today's amount?
Thank you. This is Casey for the record, sorry, State Forester Fire Warden. This will pay $6.4 million in bill, and we will continue to push the other bills until we get the next contingency fund to ask. We do, in this account, have an override, so if we have the sufficient authority, we can override some of the payments, but we don't obviously have the authority. There's another one in here, a work program that doesn't come to you guys to shift the authority.
Okay. Thank you, Casey. Any other questions?
No questions, motion to approve. Cisco?
All right. All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. Thank you. And then we'll move on to 11C, please.
Thank you, sir. The third request is from the State Department of Conservation and Natural Resources, Division of Water Resources. Pursuant to NRS 532.230, the division requests a recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee for an allocation of $250,000 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account to restore funds in the channel clearance account for the channel clearance, maintenance, restoration, surveying, and monument program for channel clearance activities. Are there any questions on this item?
Can you say that again?
Channel clearance activities.
All right. We have a motion for approval or any questions?
No questions. Motion for approval, Cisco.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. And we'll move on to 11D, Department of Education.
Thank you, sir. This next request is from the Department of Education. Pursuant to NRS 353.268, the department requests a recommendation to the Interim Finance Committee for an allocation of $38,729 in fiscal year '24 and $120,126 in fiscal year '25 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account to fund the addition of one new classified education program supervisor. Are there any questions on this item?
Any questions?
No questions. Motion for approval, Cisco.
We have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. And we'll move on to 11E, Department of Employment Training and Rehabilitation.
Thank you, sir. This last request is from the Department of Employment Training and Rehabilitation Division. Pursuant to NRS 353.268, the department requests an allocation of $492,216 from the Interim Finance Committee contingency account to cover a projected shortfall for the remainder of the fiscal year. Are there any questions on this item?
Do you have any questions?
No questions. Motion for approval, Cisco.
All right, we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
All right, motion passes. Thank you very much on that item. And we will close 11, move to item 12, approval of proposed leases for possible action. Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. There are 4 leases on the agenda under item number 12 for approval by the board today. Are there any questions on any of these leases?
Do we have any questions?
None here.
Hearing none, I'll move for a motion for approval.
So moved.
All right, we have a motion. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Aye. Motion passes. We will close 12, move to item number 13, approval of proposed contracts for possible action.
Thank you, sir. There are 53 contracts on the agenda under item number 13 for approval by the board today. Please note that contract number 51 with the Department of Employment Training and Rehabilitation in Douglas County is no longer contingent upon an IFC work program, as stated in the posted agenda, as it has been determined there is sufficient budget authority available. Also, please note, contract number 40 has been withdrawn by the State Purchasing Division. Are there any questions on any of these contracts?
Was that number 40 you mentioned?
Yes, sir, number 40.
Okay. Cisco, you want to make a stab at a motion for approval on that one?
Sure. Motion to approve item 13, contracts 1 through 53 minus contract 40 and minus contract 51.
Correct.
We
Thank
want-
you.
Oh, we want contract 51, so I will restate my motion. Motion to approve contracts 1 through 53 under item number 13 minus contract number 40.
Is that correct, Ms. Stevenson?
Yes, sir. Contract number 51 is just no longer contingent upon IFC approval.
Okay, all right. All right, we have a
Oh,
motion
got it.
for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye.
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 Motion passes. We'll close 13, move on to item number 14, approval of proposed master service agreements for possible action. Ms. Stevenson.
Thank you, sir. There are 5 master service agreements on the agenda item under number 14 for approval by the board. Please note that the master service agreement number 5 with Reno Behavioral Healthcare Hospital has been withdrawn by the purchasing division. Are there any questions on these master service agreements?
Any questions? Entertain a motion
None.
for approval.
You said number 5 is in withdrawn?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Move to approve items under agenda item number 14, except for agenda item number 5, or item number 5. Is
Sufficient.
that going to suffice?
That's good, yep. So we have a motion for approval. All those in favor signify by saying aye. Aye.
Aye.
Aye.
Motion passes. All right, we'll move to agenda item number 15. It's an informational only item, clerk of the board, contracts.
Thank you, sir. There are 54 contracts over $10,000 and under the $100,000 threshold that were approved by the clerk of the board between February 14th, 2024 through March 12th, 2024. This item is informational. Are there any questions on any of these contracts?
None here.
Give me 1 second. So I understand it's informational only, but on 17 and 18, are those separate contracts or were they split in 2?
Thank you, sir. These are 2 separate projects. So bidding assistance is related to the Railroad Museum Visitor Center that is currently out to bid, and the AP Visitor Center Master Plan is for the land behind the future visitor center. So they're 2 separate projects.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or concerns?
No, sir.
All right, hearing none, we will close agenda item number 15 as it's informational only and move to 16, information item reports. Governor's Finance Office Budget Division.
Thank you, sir.
Ms. Hanson.
There is 1 report under this agenda item from the Governor's Finance Office Budget Division. Pursuant to NRS Chapter 353, the Governor's Finance Office Budget Division presents a reconciled fund balance report for the Tort Claim Fund, Statutory Contingency Account, Stale Claims Account, Emergency Account, Disaster Relief Account, IFC Unrestricted Contingency Fund, and the IFC Contingency Fund as of March 10th, 2024. The following is the available balance for each account prior to any projected outstanding claims. Tort Claim Fund is $911,355.91. Statutory Contingency Account is $7,787,230.80. Stale Claims Account is $3,766,981.70. I still said that wrong. Emergency Account is $500,000. Disaster Relief Account is $11,045,555.03. IFC Contingency Unrestricted General Fund is $24,279,651.39. IFC Contingency Unrestricted Highway Fund is $1,184,685.35. IFC Contingency Restricted General Fund is $340,311,182. And IFC Contingency Restricted Highway Fund is $27,384,820. This item is informational, and are there any questions on this item?
Yes, Ms. Stevenson, for the record, Governor Lombardo. So, reference agenda item 11B, the 6.4 million, and then a projection of a possible additional 4 million in the future. Does that fall under the IFC Contingency Unrestricted General Fund?
Yes, sir, it does.
So with what was allocated today, I see that we may be in future precarious position. Is that correct?
That is correct,
In
sir.
order to make it. So I just wanted to make sure the other board members are aware with General Ford and Secretary Aguilar that if we were to run out of funds prior to the next legislative session, it would require a special session to reconstitute the accounts. So I just want you guys fully aware of that if we don't make it to, say, February to reallocate. Do you have any questions or concerns on that or comment? I guess not. Hearing none. Any other questions?
Oh, I'm sorry, Mr. Governor. No, yeah, I did have a question. So are we in danger of depleting? Look, I know the tort claims fund is very low, and we're going to need more money for the tort claim fund before the year is out. There's no question about that. So is it your contention then that replenishing the tort claim fund is going to require a special session, or am I misunderstanding?
I'm not sure. I'll have to get an opinion on that. Because
Okay.
I agree with you. I don't think we're gonna make it to June of next year, depending on what comes out of your office and then out of the emergency declarations associated with fire and other issues we deal with as the state. So I will obviously keep you informed as we work through this, but I think it's important that you understand the situation we're in.
Yeah, no, I appreciate that. I do know the tort claim fund needs substantially more money than that. We have a lot of claims pending in settlement conferences with federal courts, in state courts that are going to be requiring funds to be expended absent going to court and getting large judgments. And so we want to be cognizant of that fact. But I do appreciate the notice there. And, you know, we can work offline, Governor, as we have in the past to ensure that we can do what's best for the state on these types of claims.
Okay. Yeah, so if I look back through the documents from today, so we awarded $150,000 out of that particular account. So you're looking at $760,000 available. So, so the budget office will obviously be in constant contact as we work through this process. So, all right. Any comment?
I have another random question. I know it's a meeting of random questions.
Sure.
It's Cisco, by the way. What's the cash management on this, and is there interest earnings on these accounts? You don't have to answer the question
I was gonna say, I
today.
don't know the answer to that. I don't believe that they earn interest, but I can find out for you.
Okay,
I don't
thank
believe
you.
that they do.
Is Mr. Wells in the audience there?
He is, sir.
Is he able to answer that question?
He's coming, so I hope so.
Good morning, Jim Wells, Deputy Chief of Staff to Governor Lombardo. These accounts do not earn interest. Interest from these accounts goes to the general fund portfolio.
Thank you, Mr. Wells.
All right. There are no further statements or questions. We'll close agenda item number 16 and move to agenda item number 17, the second opportunity for public comment. Same phone number to dial in if needed. Please limit your comments to 3 minutes. Do we have any public comment there in Carson City?
No, sir, there's none up here.
Any here in Las Vegas? Anybody on the phone? Not seeing any.
There's nobody on the phone, sir.
All right, we'll close the second opportunity for public comment and move for adjournment. So moved. All those in favor, signify by saying aye. Aye.
Hi.
Everybody have a great day.
Great. You too. Bye-bye.